Welcome back to the Unraveled podcast. My name is Nina.
And my name's Alina.
And today I wanted to talk about investing.
Okay.
So, how to buy your first rental property or investment property.
Okay.
What you need to consider and look at when it comes to analyzing the deal.
Okay.
And then also I want to talk about if you're not in the stage where you're looking to invest or flip, how to set yourself up to purchase your first property too.
Okay.
So I know you have experience with flipping in the past. You talked about how that one burned down.
Yes.
And I have done a few myself and of course worked with investors and things like that. And I've learned a lot about what to look for when it comes to a property. So certain ages, you have to look for certain structural things, certain paint things, the location, crawl space, slab, all these different factors. What are some things that you look at when you're looking at a property to determine whether it might be a good flip opportunity for yourself or a client?
So it's been a long time since I've personally done any flips. However, I've done it before. I'm familiar with it. I've worked with a lot of clients that do it. And right now I've been really heavily working with a lot of investors and a lot of clients. So what we're typically looking for, so you can, obviously there's on-market deals, there's off-market deals. On-market would be like they're in the MLS system, they're listed with the agent. Mm-hmm. They're easy to find online, hint on-market. Mm-hmm. Then you have off-market deals, which are like sometimes you're connecting with wholesalers, you're looking on Facebook, you're looking on numerous different places. Mm-hmm. I'm on all of those avenues. I've got wholesalers that are sending me deals. I'm looking on Facebook. I'm looking on deals that are already on the market. Mm-hmm. And typically what I'm looking for and what most investors are looking for is, the 65% rule. That's what I'm going to call it, at least. I don't know what there's a real terminology for it, but I call it the 65% rule. And basically what that is, it allows an investor to be able to purchase, to be able to basically purchase a home and have such a wide enough gap for profit, hiccups in a renovation in terms of like if something's going to cost a little more and stuff like that, and then still make a decent bit of profit. Yeah. We have some investors that we work with that are like, that don't use a 65% rule, which means they're able to offer a little better on a property because they're strategically planning the cost of the renovation, a small difference for hiccups and stuff like that. There's just numerous ways that you can do it. Yeah. Most of the investors I work with always want to use a 65% rule, because they're able to account for a larger gap of profit and hiccups that may occur in the deal. Basically, when you do the 65% rule, it is very unlikely that you're not going to make a profit because you've also accounted for the fact that the home sells over asking, if the home sells well below asking, you've accounted for all of those factors within that 65%. And there's also even a special calculator you can use for that, or even just a general formula that you can use. And basically like you multiply the list price. Actually, I'm not going to get into it because I don't remember what the formula is off the top of my head.
Well, there's a calculator for anyone listening. You can
Correct.
You can very easily Google it and actually just input your numbers and see what that return looks like.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that's typically what he does. And that's typically what I do as well when I'm looking at properties for him. So basically, if I'm looking on-market deals, I'm looking at homes that could use renovation. And then I'm going to pull an ARV for them, which is the average
After
repair value. So I know what it's possibly going to sell for after the renovations happen. And also I'm guesstimating what I think the renovations will cost for that home based on the photos. And because I've done a lot of flips because I've done flips before and I've done a lot of repairs on homes in terms of just my experience in real estate, I can usually walk through a house and be like, okay, this is going to be 50, 70 grand remodel kind of thing. And usually when I'm walking through the house with my investor client, we are usually on the same page when it comes to our estimated and repairs. So because I'm able to do that and I'm able to pull the ARV, I can usually send him a deal and he'll say, yes, go for it. Let's make an offer. Let's do this number. And usually when I'm trying to pull those numbers, I want the offer to be able to be close to what the list price is or what the person wants. Because what I don't want to do is waste time making an offer on a home when our numbers are vastly far apart and I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so for someone who's not a seasoned investor, but they want to get into it, something very simple that they could do would be just look at what's on the market. So if you don't have access to the MLS, I mean, hopefully you hire a good realtor who could do this for you.
Correct. But honestly, I wouldn't do the work. I would just hire a realtor, let them do it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need them to resell it anyways. And a realtor would appreciate already having that relationship with you. They're finding you the properties. They're putting the deals together for you. They're just, and they're doing, you're getting a bundle deal.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like for me, I have a whole list of investors, but then I also have my short list. And these are people that I've worked with so many times. Same. I know that they're making a profit. I'm making a profit.
And they're going to relist with you as well.
And so it's mutually beneficial. And so when I get a deal or, like this month, I have a lot of off-market stuff that's under contract. I send those to those same few investors because I know that they're going to, they can get it done, they can close it, and we'll relist it and get it sold. I know their margins. I know what they're looking for.
Correct.
I'm sure this happens to you all the time.
I'm the same. I have a short list and I have a long list as well, but my short lists are getting the deals first.
Yeah, definitely. And if they don't want it, then we'll send it to the long list.
Correct.
But I don't know about you. I'm always getting these random text messages like, do you have off? No, so-and-so. Who are you? What's your name? I don't know who you are.
And then you get added to the long list.
Give me a call, introduce yourself, send an email, because we have a lot of off-market property. Like this year, I think more than a third of my closings have been off-market deals.
Yeah.
And for the everyday consumer, you're missing out on opportunity if you don't connect with an agent that does off-market. Correct. Because, you look on Zillow or Realtor and you just see what's on the market.
Everybody has access to that.
Unbeknownst to you, there's things closing, deals getting done, profit being made that you're missing out on just because you don't have that connection.
Correct.
To an agent that's familiar with that.
Correct. I agree. And even with the investors that I work with on my short list, I work very, very closely with them. Like I'm walking through these houses. I'm helping them pick out the finishes. I'm helping them because at the end of the day, I want to have a good relationship with you. And I was literally on the phone with my number one investor client. Like he gets all my deals first. And he was like, I'm so happy that I met you. Like, because I literally am doing all the legwork for them. I'm picking out I'm helping him pick out the finishes. I'm advising him on what to do. I'm helping him redesign the floor plan. Like I'm invested in this just as much as he is.
Yeah.
Because I also want him to know, like, when I'm giving you an ARB, I want to see you I want to see the finishes that this home needs to have, because I don't want it to sit on the market. Neither one of us want it to. This is an investment for you. So I want to ensure that you're doing the renovations properly so that it does resell and not make my job harder as well.
Yeah.
So we talk about all of those kind of things. Like I'll sit there with him and we'll take hours walking through these houses, picking out the finishes or sitting down at a computer, like ordering stuff, like whatever we need to do. Like I'm sitting there right beside him. I'm helping him, whatever. He's FaceTime me at 10 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night at Lowe's. Like, hey, which one should I pick?
Absolutely.
Pick this one. And I have my like little bonnet on laying in bed. I'm like, I don't care. Like he knows I'm committed. And he's like, he knows he can call me at any point in time and I'm going to answer the phone and help him with whatever he needs.
It's so funny.
But you have to have that level of access. None of those other investors on that long list are going to call me and I'm going to answer the phone at 10 o'clock at night. That's not going to happen. Because I have a relationship with you. We're both committed. We have the same level. We both want the same results, and we have that relationship that you can call me whenever you want someone to answer the phone and help you with whatever you need, because we both want to get this job done.
Yeah. It's so true. Like I think yesterday it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. An investor's texting me about some, details to do with the contract we have. I respond right away, because it's for certain tiered clients, for certain levels, there has to be communication. There has to be access. Because when you do these deals, time is of the essence.
100%.
Like you got to put in an offer, or you're just going back and forth. If you're slow to respond, that investor, at the end of the day, they're there to make money.
Correct.
They're not necessarily there because they like you or, know,
but if you can get them there.
If you can make them money, I mean, we're making money too.
Correct.
If you're able to make someone money consistently, you provide good customer service, that's really what they're looking for.
Correct.
That's the value that you add to these people. And
then you build the relationship. Correct. And then but it's also important that you're building that relationship with them and trust as well, because y'all are both working together to both make a profit and both make money and get the job done for them. And this particular client that I've worked with, we get along so well. Like we pair so good together for investment type of stuff. Like the other day, we were talking, I was having him sign a listing agreement to get the resales ready for 2 of the houses that he's flipping. And we were talking about commission. And I was like, hey, it's going to be 6%, whatever. And he wanted to do something differently. And I said, but I was like, you know what? let's do it. That's fine. I'm okay with it. Called me back 10 minutes later and he was like, hey, I know this is not probably what you want, but I want to make sure you're okay with it. If you're not okay with it, we won't do it. And I was like, dang, like, I have a lot of respect for that. Like, he actually cared about what I wanted. And I was like, no, I'm good with it. We talked about it. We made the decision. We're good. It's different than I'm used to, but I'm okay with it. Let's do it. And like that, but that also is him trying, it's not just about what he wants out of it. Cause a lot of times with clients, it's about what they want. We as agents are already focused on what they want out of a transaction, what they want, but it's very rare you have it reciprocated to what the agent wants. And I thought it was really nice that he cared, because it shows that he's also trying to keep that relationship that we're building, because he knows I'm committed. It's going to be hard to find another agent who puts in the effort, the time, the commitment, and who is as driven as me. So he cares about the relationship as well, the same way I do.
Yeah. And like the flip side of that is there are times where there's an investor or somebody who's a little bit more short-sighted and they don't mind screwing you over on a deal.
100%.
Or, you know, what they don't understand is they're not playing the long game, because the amount of opportunity they're missing out on by screwing me over. Sure, they make a little bit more money on this time.
Correct.
This one deal. And I promise you that'll be the only deal they ever get from me. I'm never sending them a deal again. So while all my other investors are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they made their extra $5,000 and that's all they're going to get. So it's important to build that relationship with agents that do off-market properties.
Correct.
And respect their time, respect their value and the money that they make, because if they're not making money, they're not going to send you deals either. Let's just be honest.
Correct.
So it's it goes both ways.
Correct. I know I'm getting kind of off track with my long story. So I think the topic was how to find the deals, which I addressed, and talk about rental property. I don't own any rental property. Never done that before. I know that's kind of what you've done that multiple times. So talk a little bit about that and how you find those deals, how you figure that out.
Now, truth be told, with the pricing being a bit higher, it is harder to find rental properties that cash flow.
And the rates being higher too.
To be honest, a lot of times, if you can buy a property that the loan is assumable, that's a good route to go. And
discuss what assumable is.
So there are some loans. So let's say somebody bought a house, and assumable means when they sell the house, the loan can go to the person who's purchasing the house.
Which is not typical at all.
No, it's not very common, but there is opportunity here and there. So let's say they have a 4% interest rate. A buyer can buy that house at maybe a higher price, but the interest rate is lower, so that by the time they're getting rent and paying for expenses and taxes, they're still cash flowing.
Correct.
So it's harder now to find that. It's almost better to build a couple rentals on a piece of land than to just buy a rental.
Because you're not paying market value for the home. You're paying what it costs to just build the home.
You can build a couple duplexes on a piece of land versus buying one duplex for $300,000. And you can only rent it for so much. So the market's kind of tricky right now when it comes to cash flow. A lot of people bought their rentals. Some of the ones I bought
years
were
ago.
$100,000 or so, right around there. You cannot find that anymore.
I know.
So that's more tricky. But when it comes to looking at it, you have to just run your numbers. If it seems too good to be true, if someone tells you, oh, you could rent this out for X amount, don't just believe them. Do your research.
Correct.
A lot of times I'll see a listing agent says, oh, this is below market rent. Market rent is $5,000 a month. No, it's not. And if you're purchasing a property based on that information, you think you're going to cash flow, but when you can only rent it out for $1,800 a month, you're going to be in the red. So it's kind of taxes, insurance, have, some savings for maintenance, and then the rent, and the more, are you cash flowing at all? Because then is it worth it?
Sure.
Is the appreciation potential so great that you don't mind it being a wash or being in the red for a period of time? Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
Yeah. When it comes to, looking at something to flip, look at the big ticket items, right? So look at the structural. Do you see cracks in the sheetrock? Do you see cracks in the foundation? Whether it's slab or block foundation, go into the crawl space. Are those beams rotted out? The age of the roof, age of the HVAC, the electrical, because all of those things could be $10,000, $20,000. And then
Correct.
pretty soon you're $100,000 to repair the property. And then where's your cash flow?
Exactly.
So look at those big things. Cosmetic things I think are easier. I mean, there's a big
100%.
range. Like you could spend $70,000 on a kitchen easily, or you could spend $15,000 on a kitchen. Right. So don't even consider that as much. Like think about that, but that's secondary.
But the bigger ticket items, yeah.
Otherwise, Also look at location. If the house next door sold for $250, and you're thinking you're going to sell this one for $400, probably not.
But that's where you go back to pulling proper ARV and ensuring that you're checking the comps in the area, checking the surroundings to ensure that it's going to sell for what you're thinking it's going to sell for. And then when you're checking those ARVs, you also need to be looking at the finishes that are in these homes to ensure that you're putting the right finishes in them. You don't want to put $100,000 worth of finishes in a home that's only going to sell for $300,000 when you bought the home for $250. Like at that point, you have your negative profit. So it's important that you may not have to have $100,000 worth of finishes in this home. If the comps around you, if the other remodeled or similar home comps are selling at $350 with lower grade finishes, then that's what you need to put in the home. You don't go big. It's not go big or go home. It's like you go with what the comps are telling you to go with.
And you have to understand, like you might think, if I put this marble top vanity, the type of buyer that's buying in this neighborhood, you're not going to necessarily get, just because you put certain finishes in there, it doesn't mean you're going to get that type of buyer.
Correct.
So you have to not be emotional. It's not about ego. It's not an art project.
Correct.
Run your numbers and then run them 2 more times.
Correct.
And then call your realtor and have them run the numbers,
Like one of my clients, I had to tell him, his goal was to just be able to bulk buy supplies and put them in every single home. And I said, that's not going to work. I said, maybe in Atlanta that will work because you've got a huge pool of buyers in Atlanta that are looking for all different kind of things. But we're talking about a smaller town like Athens or Hartwell, a smaller city. You've got a small pool of buyers, which means they're looking for you don't have that wide of a range of finishes you can just throw in a home. Like you've got to cater to the specific buyers or it's going to take you forever to sell that home because you're not catering to the right buyers. So if you're doing a farmhouse style home, you can't go in there and put modern finishes in that home. You've got to put farmhouse style finishes in that home or else you're not going to sell the home in this area because you're not going to be able to attract the right kind of buyer that wants a farmhouse style home with modern finishes. Like that's like a 1% ratio out of, that it's going to be too difficult. So you've really got to cater to the demographic of the kind of buyers who are buying in the area and what they want.
And it really is beneficial if you stay up to date on what styles of homes and interiors that people want. People no longer want gray. I'm seeing gray floors, gray walls. Buyers don't want that.
Correct.
Agreeable gray, no more.
Correct.
No more. So if you do a flip and you put all gray palette, everything's a gray palette, you're going to have a hard time selling that house.
Agreed.
Warm it up a little bit, add a little bit of contrast,
add
a little bit of style.
That's literally what I've been telling him. I've been begging him to do green cabinets, like do sage green cabinets, like we're gonna do a doggy shower in one of the houses as a higher end finish. Like you've got to make these houses stand out. You cannot go in just putting generic basic finishes in these homes. You wonder why new construction homes are sitting. I point over here because I got new construction homes across the street that have been sitting on the market for a long time because they've got basic grade finishes in them. All of the houses look the same. So you're telling me you want to do the same thing in your house and let it sit on the market just like these new constructions? Like you bought a home, you have the opportunity to customize it and make it different than anything else these builders are doing. Do that. Because that's you're not even, then at that point, you're not even competing with the builders because you've got a custom brand new home that you're doing.
And the thing is, I understand people, again, it's about numbers. You want to make a profit, so you don't want to overspend, but then pick a space in the house that is the focal point.
Correct.
So, that color, or like pick a couple different colors and let that be the theme because that's going to stand out. Even though you're not spending as much money as maybe these new construction builders.
Correct.
It still looks more luxurious and more high end and thoughtful. Being thoughtful in how like you select the colors and the palettes and the textures. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to spend a whole bunch more money. Just no more gray.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I think that wraps up this episode.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking about it because I love helping investors from the real estate standpoint. I don't really care to invest anymore. Like that's not my, I'm good. But I love being able to really coach and kind of guide my clients on what to do in these kind of projects. So it was fun sharing and talking about it. So hopefully that would help some other people who are maybe considering it or kind of just wanting to understand the process.
And if you have any more questions about that, you can feel free to leave us a comment
Absolutely.
or a message. We are going to put out a new episode every Wednesday. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, and feel free to connect with us on social media. Thanks for watching.